Okay, today's episode of the podcast is going to be slightly different. Today is going to be a story time about one of my exes, and I'll call him Drew. Yeah, let's just call him Drew. Anyway, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to the Bad Brain podcast. I'm Imani. I'm your host, of course, and I forgot my intro, so yeah. Take it away, Samara. I first met him on Instagram. Honestly, it's kind of embarrassing to admit now, but back then I was doing a mass following of people in my area because because I wanted to grow my own following, and he just so happened to be one of the people that I followed. And over time, I kept noticing him on my timeline, and he just kept popping up. And I was like, who is this? He is fine as shit. And then a few weeks went by, and he posted this one picture, and I remember it so vividly. And that was a picture that made me think, my God, this man is gorgeous. God blessed his DNA. I have to message him. So that's exactly what I did. I slid into his DMs. When we actually started talking, my first impression of him was that he was similar to me. It felt like he was like maybe the guy version of me. We stayed on Instagram for a while before we traded numbers, and when he finally asked me for my number, I was like, finally, God, what took you so long? We started texting. Well, yeah, we started texting more and really getting to know each other. And we realized that our birthdays were only a few weeks apart. So we bonded over the fact that we were both Sagittarius. And it made me feel even closer to him because of our similarities. I thought like maybe he's my Sagittarius soulmate. Girl. Ugh. And one day he said that he wanted to meet me in person. And oh my God, I was so nervous. Like, he wanted, like, what if he saw me in real life and he thought I didn't look like my Instagram pictures? My mind was spiraling. But still, I told him where I worked, and he said that he would come visit me on his lunch break. And that entire day, my heart was pounding out of my chest. I kept thinking, is he really going to show up? And if he does, what if he thinks that I'm deceiving him because I don't look like my Instagram pictures? Again, the insecurity in me just was making my mind go a million times a minute. But spoiler alert, he did show up. And I was working at Starbucks at the time. And I remember hearing the door chime because it always did when customers walked in. And I was slightly annoyed because I was having a horrible morning that morning. Like, it was super busy and I didn't understand why, because we usually didn't get that busy in the morning. And I saw his face. It took me a while to recognize him because I don't know. I guess I couldn't believe it at first. It took me a while to recognize him. And when I registered that it was him and he was actually connected to a body, my heart sunk. And I couldn't stop smiling like the entire time. He stood in line, and that line was long as hell. He stood in line that whole time. And when he finally came up to the register, he gave me the warmest smile, and I swear to God, my heart almost jumped out of my mouth. Oh, now that I think about it, that's kind of embarrassing. But anyway, he came to the register, he smiled at me, and he said, hey. And I was like, hi. And he ordered his vanilla frappuccino, his vanilla bean frappuccino, and he took out his card to pay for it. And I was like, no, no, I got it. Don't worry. And he was like, cool, thank you. He was just being so chill. So I turned around because he was the last person in line. No one came in after him. And I told my coworker that I would make his drink. And when I was working at this Starbucks, me and my coworkers, all of us opened up that location together. So we were all pretty close. And one of my coworkers, she, one of my coworkers, she was so cool, and she noticed how happy I was. So she started teasing me. It was like, "Oh, that's your boyfriend?" And I was like, "No, that's not my boyfriend. We're just talking right now." So she offered to switch breaks with me. She said I should take my break now because she was about to go on break, but she suggested I take my break first so I can go talk to him. So I did. And I thanked her, and I made his vanilla bean frappuccino, and I wrote his name on it. So cute. I put hearts and smiley faces all over it. And when I handed over the cup, he just smiled at me. And yeah, at first it was awkward when we finally sat down together. We were asking each other questions that we already knew. Like, we were asking each other the same questions that we already covered over text. And my way of breaking the ice is to hurl insults at people that I like. So I looked at him and said, "Wow, you're a lot shorter in person than I thought you'd be." And he came right back with, "Well, yeah, so are you." And I just burst out laughing, and he noticed that I wasn't insulted, so he started laughing along with me. We ended up spending my entire break together and his entire break, even though it was a excuse me, even though it was a little awkward. It was sweet to me, at least. And eventually he had to leave to get back to work. And now that I think about it, now that I know where he worked at the time, he drove a fair amount of time to come see me at work. Maybe it was just to get a free Starbucks drink, but he was going to pay for it, so I don't know. Anyway, why did he drive so far just to see me that day? But anyway, after he left, I couldn't stop smiling. He was just so cute. And meanwhile, one of my other coworkers who I knew had a crush on me, he definitely wasn't happy that I was on cloud nine. He he didn't talk to me for the entire rest of our shift. He didn't help me, he didn't do anything, which I think is kind of petty, but to each his own, I guess. I was floating and I couldn't wait to see him again, which brings me to our official first date. About a week passed after he came to come see me at work, and he asked me out on a real date, like a proper date. No one never asked me, no one has ever asked me out on a proper date before, but he planned everything, and I was just in awe. It also came at a perfect time because me and my ex, my on again, off again boyfriend of 5 years, well, technically, it was more like 3 years at that point, but it was messy. He cheated on me anyway, and I was done, so I broke up with him. But I thought that Drew came at the perfect time. It felt like the universe was sending me a distraction, or maybe even a fresh start. And girl, you should have just took that time to yourself. Or you shouldn't. Anyway, let's just get back into the story time. For our date, he actually took me to the wharf. No, I don't think that's the wharf. Where the wharf? Where is that? Anyway, there's this place in the DMV area, and they have a Ferris wheel by the water, and it has a ton of shops and concert venues there. I really can't think of the name of it right now. Oh my god. Anyway, we walked by the water, we got ice cream, and then he suggested that we go on the Ferris wheel. I didn't even bring it up. He did. He wanted to get on with me. So um, when he got on, when we got on, the sun was starting to set, and it was so beautiful. I just looked out at the water in awe because it just reflected so beautifully off of the sun, reflected so beautifully off this water. And he noticed that I was just staring out the window, and I was just like, wow, look at the sky. It's so beautiful. I have to take a picture. So I did, and I posted it to Snapchat. Do people even still get on Snapchat? I don't know. And he followed suit. He also took a picture and posted it to Snapchat. And I remember thinking, like, the first thought that came to my head, it was maybe, not maybe, I remember what I thought. I was like, he's taking the same picture as me in the same area, very similar pictures. Like, and we have mutual followings. What if people know that we're together? Like, I don't know why I thought that. Like, I was so insecure. Usually, like, when me and my ex first got together, he never posted pictures of us together. He never took pictures and posted it around the same time as me because he didn't want people to know that we were together. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for that girl. But anyway, I'm digressing. When I noticed, after I took my picture and I had that very self deprecating thought, I noticed out the corner of my eye that he wasn't even looking at the sky anymore. He was looking at me, and I turned towards him and I could feel my cheeks getting warm. And I said, so embarrassed, I said, what? Why are you looking at me? And he just laughed and was like, because you're pretty. And I was like, oh. And he was like, yeah, just like the sky. And I swear my heart jumped out of my chest. My cheeks got hotter. And then he leaned in and kissed me. And I let him. I didn't think that I wanted to kiss him. I wanted to kiss him that entire day. But he took initiative and he kissed me. So my little heart was just racing and I was just so happy. Anyway, the guy running the Ferris wheel, he even let us go around a few extra times. He told us that we looked like a cute couple. And of course, Drew's charisma helped convince him too. And afterward, we went to Matchbox to get pizza for dinner. We weren't 21 yet, so we didn't have any drinks, which is significant because after we were 21 and we could both legally get alcohol. Most of our encounters dealt with alcohol, but I'm skipping ahead. We weren't 21 at the time yet, so no, we didn't get drinks. We just got pizza and sodas or water, I think. I don't think either one of us got sodas. Anyway, it didn't matter. The conversation flowed so much easier than the first time we met, and I realized how much I loved his charm. He was so cute and so easy to be around. And when we left the when we left the restaurant, the sun was still setting. It was summer, so it felt like golden hour would last forever. And on our walk to his car, we passed a house with the flowers outside. And I picked one and said, wow, everything just looks so nice today. And he picked one too, and he tucked it in my hair. And me being so awkward and nervous, I snatched out my hair because I didn't know what else to do. I snatched out my hair and I was like, did you even check to see if it was a bug on it? And he laughed and he checked it and said that it was fine. And he gently put it back into my hair. And I just couldn't stop laughing and smiling. And I laugh when I'm nervous, so I was laughing a lot that day. And in the middle of me laughing, I just looked up at him and he was smiling at me. And I was like, what? He was just like, I like seeing you laugh. You're just really silly. I love your personality. He said that I reminded him of himself, and I told him I felt the same way. So eventually, we got back to his car, and when we got in his car, we sat there for a while listening to music and talking, and this Chris Brown song came on. called Ain't No Way. Oh my god, that was my song for the longest. Like every time I listened to that song, I could not think about him. Like every time I heard that song, I thought about him. The song goes, I don't know if you heard it. It was like it's an old Chris Brown song. It says, "Ain't no way." Oh, let me. Ain't no way I'm gonna make you say you love me, girl. Anyway, yeah, the lyrics went like that, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make you love me too." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." He was right. Ugh, I hate that he was right, but he played that song every time we were together too. Oh my god. Anyway, we were just sitting in the car listening to music, listening to Chris Brown, and we discovered that we had similar music taste. And it just made me like him even more. And eventually it started getting dark, and I asked him if he could drive me home since I had to work in the morning early. And he hesitated at first because he didn't want the night to end, but I told him we have all summer, the whole year ahead of us. You don't plan to stop talking to me after this, do you? And he laughed and was like, "No, why do you think that?" And I was just like, "I don't know. I was just making sure." But he ended up driving me home. And when we pulled up to my house, neither of one of us wanted to say goodbye right away. So he sat in his car a little longer listening to music, and then he kissed me again. And right then and there, he planned our next date. He told me the exact day, the time, and that he was going to be outside of my house to pick me up at this time. So I needed to be ready. And I joked and I was just like, you didn't even ask me if I had to work or if I was free or if I had plans. And he smirked and said that he already knew my schedule. And yeah, he was right. We knew each other's schedules at this point. And I pretended to be annoyed, but my smile sort of crept through and I smacked him in his arm because when I like someone, I hurl insults at them and I give them love taps, I guess. Girl, get a grip. Anyway, I told him, okay, still smiling, cheeks still red as cherries, and got out the car. But before, well, I went to go get out. But before I did, he pulled me back in and he kissed me again, and I was floating. He even got fake mad at me because I didn't let him open the door for me, which honestly made me like him even more. He was so different from what I was used to with my abusive ex. He was charismatic, he was funny, he was cute, and above all, he was a gentleman. He didn't hesitate to pay the bill when it came. He didn't ask me to go half like my ex always did. And even when we went to go get on the Ferris wheel, he took initiative and didn't make a big deal of it. I remember I pulled out my card and he was like, he tucked it back in as I was pulling it out. He tucked it back into my wallet and was like, no. And yeah, I just like that. He just took initiative. And that kind of effort, it made me feel so special. It meant so much to me because my love language has always been quality time. But I'm just now finding out that it is. And with him, I felt like I was getting that in the purest way. So, this is where things start to shift. And looking back now, I realized the red flags were waving in my face. But at the time, I did not want to see them at all. So, let's get back into our story time. We had spent the whole summer together, and then a full year passed. And we spent most weekends together, and eventually I started staying the night at his house, and we worked similar schedules, so it was convenient because his job was closer. I mean, his house was closer to my job than my house was. Well, that's what I was telling myself at least, that being staying at his house was convenient. And it just felt like a rhythm that we were building. We felt real. And my ex at the time, he kept trying to reach out to me, but I distanced myself from him because I thought what I had with Drew was real. And still, even after all of this, spending nights together, waking up next to each other, sharing slow weekends, watching anime in his bed, going to restaurants, him introducing me to lounges and nightlife, he still hadn't asked me to be his girlfriend. And I thought that was strange. I mean, a year had passed and we still weren't official. But what? So, one of the first big red flags came when we went out to a lounge one night. We were 21 at this point, so we were drinking. He bought me a margarita because that was the only mixed drink that I knew. Because I was taking shots before the age of 21. I drink straight liquor. I said that in my sobriety podcast. My introduction to alcohol was shots, no chaser. That's crazy. What? Anyway, he bought me a margarita, and at first I was having a great time. He knew people there, so he was talking to them, and I just was kind of standing off to the side, just saying hi, greeting people as he talked. And once my drink kicked in, of course, I wanted to dance. And we started to, but almost immediately he made it clear that he did not want to dance with me. I feel like he just wanted to dance with other women, or now that I think about it, I think that he wanted me to be a wingman for him. That's how it felt because when I tried to dance with him, he like backed away slowly, like he did not want to dance with me. That's so fucking embarrassing because I liked him so much. And listen. That that crushed me. But then this gorgeous girl, like she was so beautiful. Her and her friends pulled me into their group and she was like, if he doesn't want to dance with you, you could come dance with us because you're fucking hot. And honestly, that gave me like a little boost. So I danced with him. And I think he got jealous because normally he was the one to draw in like beautiful, gorgeous girls like that. But this time they were with me. They were dancing with me. And he knew that I was bisexual. So I don't know. He probably saw me as competition or something. Like, she's stealing all the bitches from me. Yeah, I am, bro. The girl, yeah, I just had so much fun. But anyway, that should have been my first red flag. The fact that the person that I came with to this bar, lounge, whatever, my date, didn't want to be seen dancing with me in public. What? That's so embarrassing. But anyway, the second red flag happened the same night. When we left the lounge, he seemed kind of annoyed. And the second we got into his car, he immediately, like, immediately called his friends to see what they were doing. And his friend told him that they were at what did he say? That they were at a club. They were at another club downtown and that they had gotten a section and that he should come through. He told him that he was going to take me, well, he told me that he was going to take me home, but I didn't want the night to end. Even though he clearly wasn't prioritizing me in the moment. Even though he clearly wasn't prioritizing me in the moment. Ugh. I suggested we go back to his place. He agreed and he stopped at a wine and spirit store by his house to buy a bottle of champagne. And then called his friend and told his friend that he wouldn't make it tonight. And his friend was like, oh, like he was getting some booty or something. Anyway, and he had it on speaker, like I heard the whole conversation. I felt embarrassed that entire night, like seriously. Anyway, this is where my insecurity was really showing. I thought if I kept him close and I gave him what he wanted, then he wouldn't leave me for his friends. I wanted so badly for him to stay with me, to choose me. So that night I convinced myself the way to make him happy was to just give him everything he wanted. And at the time, I thought that that was love. I didn't realize until later that it was me trying to hold on to someone who wasn't holding on to me in the same way. Again, embarrassing. And after that night, I could feel our dynamic shift. Not because we had sex, because we had done that multiple times before this, but I don't know. It just felt different. It wasn't huge at first, but it was there. He didn't ask me over as often. We didn't go out on dates as no, not as much as we used to. And it was mostly when it was convenient to him. He started going on vacations without even inviting me, which made me think, aren't weren't we basically dating? After a year, shouldn't I be at least at vacation status? I had a nice paying job. I could pay for my own ticket. And if you want me to help you, I'm digressing again. Anyway, I eventually asked him straight up. I was like, "Hey, sir, why haven't you asked me to be your girlfriend yet?" And he told me it was because he wasn't ready for a relationship and that we were just having fun. And though he would love for me to be his girlfriend, that's not what he wanted right now. But that he loves being around me and that eventually he will want me to be his girlfriend. Eventually. But right now he didn't want that. And that broke me. That broke my heart. Because I loved him so much. I just accepted it. I was hoping that one day he'd change his mind and be like, okay, now I want her to be my girlfriend. But here's the truth. That should have been enough for me to walk away, but that should have been enough for me to walk away. But when you're in love, or at least you think you're in love, you'll accept crumbs and call it a fucking meal. And that's exactly what I did. Again, how embarrassing. Anyway, I digressed. Because I knew his phone password, I went through his phone. Because his phone kept blowing up. This girl kept blowing up his phone, texting him, calling him over and over and over. And eventually I just texted her back and was like, he's busy right now. He's with someone. He'll call you back in the morning. And she shot back immediately. She was like, who's he with? This better not be no bitch. And da, da, da. I was just like I said, girl, he'll call you back in the morning. And I deleted the thread and I deleted the missed calls. And I just kept going through his phone. And then I saw that he had deleted all the pictures of us that we had took a few months before. But he still had pictures of other girls in his phone. And that broke my heart. My heart sank. I pushed him off of me onto the floor of his truck. But I was already drinking heavily. So when I tried to get out the truck, I almost stumbled and fell. So I got back in so I can sober up a little bit, but I ended up falling asleep. But before that, after that, it hit me. This man I bent over for, the one I got out of bed for at 2 a.m. and 2:30 in the morning to rescue him when his car broke down, the one who would do, the one I would do anything for, was never going to want me. He was never going to give me what I wanted. And what made it worse, he embarrassed me publicly. One time after I stopped speaking to him, I texted him back a few months later and I just told him that I missed him. And instead of responding privately, he screenshot my message and posted it onto his Twitter for his thousands of followers to see. And in the comments, people were laughing at me and calling me thirsty. And I only found out because we have a mutual friend and he screenshot it and was like, bro, is this you? And I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? So, yeah, embarrassed, humiliated. I still wanted him. Like, girl, get some fucking dignity. And the craziest part is even with all the humiliation, all the hurt, all the contradictions, I still loved him so deeply. And I clung to whatever little pieces of affection he gave me because he did support me in certain ways. He encouraged my art. He wanted to take me skydiving. He offered to pay for my classes. When I needed financial help, he would always help me. And he never lied to me. He was always bluntly truthful. But his truth was that he didn't want me in the way that I wanted him. So I hit a breaking point. I started treating him the same way he was treating me. I only respond when it was convenient to me. I only reached out when I wanted something, and he didn't like that. He didn't like the taste of his own medicine. And when I realized the turning point wasn't just about him changing, it was about me finally starting to change too. When I realized that, I was like, girl, you have the power. So after I started giving Drew a taste of his own medicine, he did that thing that guys always do when they notice that you're losing interest. He suddenly wanted to be all over me. He was texting me saying, I'm thinking about you, I miss you. But by then, I was back in culinary school, and honestly, I was going through a lot, so I couldn't worry about him. I had so much going on. I had just lost my car in a car accident on my way back to school, and the teacher, the class I was supposed to take that day, getting back to school, I didn't make it to because of my car accident. So, my teacher failed me. She failed me. The teacher, my teacher, failed me on a group project. A project that I literally built from scratch. I created the PowerPoints. I wrote the script. I did basically everything. And she didn't believe me. She didn't believe that I was in an accident, though I showed her pictures. And she just she just didn't believe me, and she just couldn't believe that I had done all the work for our group. And I'll never forget her words because it was just she just had so much disbelief in her fucking words. And she just looked at me like I was just she just looked at me like I was another black girl who couldn't possibly be capable of doing all that work. So yeah, she failed me and passed everyone else, and no one in my group even spoke up for me. So that hurt my feelings more. That broke me. And on top of that, I was stressed about passing my ServSafe certification because I felt it. I failed twice already. And if I didn't pass, I couldn't move forward with my externship. But thank the heavens I passed my third time, because if I didn't pass it my third time, I couldn't go to my externship and I would have to go back home while everyone else was on externship. And I would go home and I would have to wait an entire semester and then reapply to go on externship. And I did not want to go home. I didn't want to deal with my ex. I didn't want to deal with Drew. I didn't want to deal with my dad. I didn't want to deal with anyone. I was determined to go to my externship. And during that time, I had met someone new and during that time I had met someone new in culinary school, and he just felt so different from Drew. He was sweet and soft spoken and gentle. And we were friends at first, but a few months later he asked me to be his girlfriend, so I said yes. And that's my issue. Girl, just stay single. Like, what the fuck? So when Drew saw me post a picture of this guy, he suddenly was just like blowing up my phone saying that he missed me. And I was like, sir, you miss me, but you got all these girls in your phone. And he didn't even respond to me, so we stopped talking again. And yeah, we didn't speak for another year. But me and my culinary school beau, we didn't last either because he put his friends before me constantly. And also, I started gaining feelings for one of his friends. I literally thought to myself, fuck, I picked the wrong friend. But that's besides the point. I never retaliated. Uh, I never tried to um, do anything with his friend. So yeah, after we, after me and my culinary school beau ended things, when we broke up, I moved back home, and of course, somehow, Drew found out, and he reached out to me, and he wanted to hang out again, and we did for a while, and but yeah, it wasn't the same. He still did what he used to do. He took me to nice restaurants. We watched anime in his room and we'd hang out at his place. But I was older. I wanted more. I wanted quality time. I wanted shared activities. I wanted mutual friends. I wanted to take fucking pottery classes together. I wanted partnership. And he just wasn't giving me that. And around that time, I had also met my son's father. And honestly, he took my attention away from Drew completely. I also found out that Drew had been in a car accident while I was away, and a longtime friend of his had quit her job and moved out of her apartment to move into his home to take care of him. And the way that he talked about her, it fucking disgusted me. He admitted that she wanted to be with him, that she wanted to be more than just friends with him. But he wasn't interested in her like that because she had a kid. And yet, he let her throw away her entire life while he was telling her that he loved her just to keep her around so she can take care of him after his car accident. So I lost a lot of respect for him. Like, he literally called her his applesauce bitch. And we were having a talk about that. And I was like, I don't know if I could be someone's applesauce bitch because I don't know if anyone would do the same for me. And when I said that, he was like, "So you wouldn't take care of me? So you wouldn't So you wouldn't switch places with her? Like if you were here and I was in an accident, you would come take care of me?" I say, I mean, I will make sure that you're good, but you're not my man. And he felt that, and he felt it. He felt that shift in me. And though I still loved him, I loved him down. Like I fucking was in love with this man. I just didn't respect him anymore. Like I was like, this stupid ass. Oh God. I was just like, wow, he really is. He's a fucking user. And the last time I saw him after that day, he dropped me off and he leaned in to kiss me. And I turned my head and I thanked him for the day. And I was like, shouldn't you get back to your applesauce, bitch? That I put quotations around it. And he just chuckled and he tries to kiss me again. And I was like, I'm fine because I had already started to grow strong emotions for my son's dad. And I got out his car and I went inside my house, and that's where it ended. No closure, no final talk. Just two petty Sagittarius cutting each other off because we didn't like how we treated each other. And I know that's like anticlimactic, but yeah, that's how it ended between us. Like we haven't spoken since then. But no, I'm lying. A few years later, last year or maybe the beginning of this year, we briefly reconnected just to catch up. And he asked if I wanted to hang out, and I told him no. And I told him that I had a son because I remember how he was so repulsed by his applesauce bitch having a son. And when I told him no, something sparked in me. And I realized I like moved on finally. But let me be real with you. It took me 9 years. It took me 9 years to get over him from the age of 18 to 26 or 27, I carried him with me. Even when I was with my son's dad, he would pop into my thoughts, like randomly. Like I wouldn't think about him for long spans of time, long periods of time, and then boom, I would have a dream about him, and I'll be like, what the fuck? So it wasn't until 2024 that I finally sat down and I gave myself closure. I asked myself, why do you even still think about him? Why do you still have these feelings, these lingering feelings towards him? And I realized it was because I never gave myself permission to let go. And though it took me so long to do that, I finally did it. I did it. And it was such a relief that that relationship or whatever situationship, because it definitely wasn't a fucking relationship, it sparked my healing journey even without me knowing. 6 years later, it sparked, like, it helped me with my healing journey. And he showed me red flags I should have never ignored. Like when he told me I needed a BBL, or when his friend tried to clown me and tell me that my hair was nappy and he didn't even defend me. Or when his grandma told me that or his grandma told me don't get comfortable, you just a dime a dozen. And I thought she was joking at first, but yeah, no, she wasn't. Especially when he paraded around the list of girls that he slept with in front of me and he constantly brought up his ex. Like, oh my God. And looking back, if I could talk to my younger self, I'd say respect yourself. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Don't wait 9 years. Don't give your worth to a man who does not value you. And anyone listening, please, if you're listening and if you're in a similar situation, run. Don't waste your time the way I did. Don't waste 9 years of your life. Because, yes, I mean, I guess he was a good person. I don't know. Because after the applesauce bitch thing, I was like, is this man really a good person? I don't think he's evil. He just wasn't good to me. And even though, no, I don't care about him, but I hope he's good. I hope he's doing well. And I just feel a lot better. Like, I'm so glad that I'm finally over him. And I think that's how I was able to record this episode. Like, and I feel so much freer for doing that. Like, I feel so, my feminine energy is through the roof because I'm finally telling someone my story. I don't think I've ever shared this story with anyone besides my sister. Like, all the humiliation, all the embarrassment, all of it. And I know that it is embarrassing because, yes, me thinking back on it, it's embarrassing. But don't be like me. Don't throw away your dignity, your sanity, all for a guy or a girl or whatever you're into. Don't do it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you want more storytime-esque episodes, let me know because I have tons of them. I have so many stories. So much has happened in my life. So, yeah. And I didn't want to get into everything because a few things that happen between us are personal. And I didn't want to share all of the details. I was just like scratching the surface. But anyway, like I said, if you want any more of these storytime-esque videos, let me know because I have tons. I hope you have a great day, week, weekend, month, year, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. And I'm off. Goodbye. Go ahead, Samar. Take it away.